For more than 2 years, during the Cultural Revolution, all schools and colleges in China were closed. Why did this happen? And what is going on now in education in China? On my recent visit, I was able to find some of the answers. Chinese education had become caught between two sharply opposed ideas of what kind of education was best for China. There were those who said that what a technically backward country needed was, above all, a highly trained managerial elite, professional administrators, specialists, experts. But there were others who said, yes, China does need as many intellectuals and highly trained experts as possible. But the last thing we want is any kind of an elite. In a socialist country, they said, education must serve the interests of the working people. This wasn't merely a mild academic debate. It was, in essence, a bitter class struggle, which would determine what kind of country China was going to be. In the universities especially, the conflict was violent, even physically violent. And it was this clash of two utterly opposed ideas which brought education to a halt. Eventually, the concept of a working class, non-elitist education won out. But some fantastically difficult problems still remained. How, for instance, to uproot the age-old idea that brain work was somehow superior to handwork? And how could they get it across to students that real education has nothing to do with their getting a better job, more pay, but is a means by which society as a whole can be advanced? These are tremendous questions, and the Chinese don't for a moment claim that they have found all the answers. Schools and colleges are functioning again, but everything is still experimental. Much of what goes on in education appears rather normal. But as you will see, under the appearance of normality, some quite new educational ideas are being applied. Four-year-olds in a typical city kindergarten. By means of songs and dances, children are taught that to do manual work is something to be proud of. We are little red soldiers working in the woodwork shop. Look, these are our tools. Today, a strong emphasis is placed on children learning to be self-reliant, doing as much as they can for themselves. This kindergarten is in Peking, but it could be anywhere. We saw similar schools in every city we visited. These are the same children preparing for their afternoon nap. A typical primary school. The teacher is saying, please write these words. Forward, unite, together. In this village school, as in all schools in China, children learn their arithmetic on an abacus. Every morning, all over China, school children, as well as many adults at their place of work, do their morning exercises. It was a bitterly cold December morning when I filmed this. Education since the Cultural Revolution is non-competitive. There are now far fewer examinations, and most are open book exams. It's considered more useful for a student to know where to look for information than to cram his mind full of facts for an exam. This represents an enormous change from classical Chinese education. While painting and literature are still part of the curriculum, the emphasis is now placed on subjects of immediate practical application and on the learning of foreign languages.
你又能不能运用你所学到的知识，把齿轮传动的知识用到我们实际生产中？
Since the Cultural Revolution, factory workers now teach many of the practical subjects.
他把这个线圈装到这上头来，那就是说，确实是应该装上一个线圈。在这里做实验。
我现在拿的这手柄吧是那个主动轴，这个绕线去了，这个是被动轴。下面我绕。1、2、3、4。
Behind me, you see a big sign. On it, the words say, "Serve the people." Now, this is a sign that you see all over China today. Big signs like this one, small signs. It's even written on small children's satchels as they go to school. And of course one wonders at first when one comes here whether it is more than a slogan, whether it is just a nice phrase. But one soon discovers that it is more than a slogan. It has entered the very spirit of the people here, and that wherever one goes one seems to see people conscious that their purpose is not to serve themselves, but to help others and to serve the people and serve the nation. Children at school help each other by mending each other's clothes or repairing their shoes. To link theoretical and practical knowledge, workshops are set up right in the schools themselves. In this school, students are making silicon transistors for radios. Their work must meet exactly the same standard as in a factory. In ways like this, millions of teenagers in China are learning technical skills and industrial discipline before they leave school. Testing the transistors. All school children work full-time for 2 months a year at some productive work. They also have 8 weeks holiday every year. Students in the school garden. For their 2 months of practical work, school children can choose from a great variety of jobs. In Shanghai, on a ship that was being built, I came across 2 schoolgirls learning how to weld. In a jade carving factory, several school children were learning from an old master how to carve jade. Tsinghua, one of China's famous universities. Only a fraction of China's children get to college, but those who do pay no fees, and all books, food and lodging are free. Before coming to college, every student must have worked at least 2 years in a factory or in the fields. There are no entrance examinations. A student is chosen not only because he is intellectually capable, but because his fellow workers recommend him as someone who will use his education to serve the people. The university today is administered by a revolutionary committee on which every section of the university is represented. The chairman is a Communist Party leader, and the army is represented too, one of the teaching staff. A student. The maintenance staff are represented by a janitor. In the university, as in the middle schools, wherever possible, theory is linked with practice. This computer, for example, was designed and constructed by students in the advanced electronics department. What individual freedom is there in China? As we understand freedom, very little. In the natural sciences, the intellectual is given the widest freedom to question and explore. And there is ample evidence that China is producing minds of superb competence. But the Chinese say that a competitive society like ours must of necessity develop a philosophy of individualism, while a society based on cooperation will develop quite a different ethic. Thus in China, individuals don't follow their personal impulses, and China offers no scope for the man striving to express his personality, which we have placed so high on the list of human needs. There are, I am sure, many intellectuals in China frustrated and unhappy. But it seemed to me that most of the young students I saw and talked with were grateful for the opportunity of being at college, and had accepted the idea that a man's knowledge and creativity are not, as it were, his own possessions, but are to be used for the benefit of all. Professor Chen at Tsinghua, during the Cultural Revolution, had to work in a steel mill, and he was surprised to find this brought him quite a new kind of freedom.
I was used to write books and scientific papers after the work. Then I usually like to put my name on it.
You used to like to put your signature on your books and on your works, yes.
Actually, now I realize that's the way of seeking my personal fame and fortune.
I understand.
For the workers, they have no such kind of question. They never thought to put any signature on their products. This is indeed a striking contrast between two kinds of work outlook. And through the long period of working with the workers, I finally established the friendship with many workers. In the past, my friends all are professors and intellectuals like me. Now I have worker friends.
Another professor, specializing in biochemistry, told me that before the Cultural Revolution, he felt he had to keep up his dignity and would never have made friends with his students as he does now. And he doesn't resent it, as he said he would have done before, when his students learn about a complicated biochemical process from a worker at a factory, rather than from him in a university classroom. In these ways, the Cultural Revolution helped to break down barriers between people.
这个处理的方法用一种活性的污泥，就是用粪便培养一种细菌，这个细菌呢产生原生动物，把这个水里含有大量的苯呐，用它给分解。加油看齐！
All students serve in the civilian militia. In this mock battle, they were using live ammunition. Education does not end when school lets out. In every city, centers have been set up for what they call volunteer after-school education. Some learn gardening. Some embroidery. Boys making model boats. Not having many pianos, children learn on cardboard keys, and some make exceptional progress. This boy of 9 years old started only a year ago. Some children, 8 and 9 years old, prefer gymnastics. A traditional Chinese fight sequence.
预备，再从头开始。
The children are singing about how the sun is rising in the east, how the sky is full of clouds, but our friends are worldwide. These children, then, are the inheritors of a cultural revolution which has turned so many old educational ideas upside down. Many questions, even for the Chinese, remain unanswered. Whenever I asked whether the Cultural Revolution would indeed succeed in what it had set out to do, the building of a new society and a new kind of man, the Chinese would answer, "We don't know, for we are just at the beginning. If this Cultural Revolution does not succeed, there will be another, and if necessary, yet another, and each one will be at a deeper level."